Got it. Okay. All righty. We're almost ready to rock and roll. Almost. One last thing I need to do. Boom. Now we're ready. Okay, cool. I'd like to welcome everyone to Spiritual Sunday. Today, we're going over living a magical life. So we have been talking for the whole entire month around magic and different things, from how you have candle magic and other forms of magic. And today, we're finishing off our conversation around having a magical life and also bending the laws of the universe. So I'm really excited. So this is more unlike our other sessions, this is more of a teaching and going through and laying down some things that you can use as an exercise after today in order to further your abilities around magic. So let's hop in because I think that we're probably going to go about an hour today, and also want to allow some time for anyone to ask some questions, because I just really don't know how you're going to take this, because it's kind of like a different way of looking at life. So it should be interesting, at least interesting to me, to find out what your thoughts on it. So to get everybody on the same page, how we're defining magic. Magic is simply the ability to manifest your will in this physical world. Your ability to manifest your will in this physical world. And what we talked about this month is that you can always have a cookbook. You can have the ingredients that are needed in order for you to perform magic. But unless you have the secret sauce, it's not going to work. And that secret sauce is really just kindness, your ability to be a good human being. The better you are at being a human, the more powerful your magical abilities are going to be. So there's no fear that I have of showing someone the cookbook, because anyone who's not worthy of using it won't be able to get anything done with it. But today, I'm going to tell you how you can make sure that you are worthy of using that cookbook and having the magic done. And how we're going to do it is I'm going to start off with some definitions first. Okay. And the first definition that I want to look at is the physical world and the spiritual world. And I was trying to figure out, how do I explain this? Because it can be confusing, and you have different terminologies and connotations and blah, 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 blah. So I thought I'm going to try to just make it simplistic and allow you to add whatever titles you want to add onto it. Okay. So the first is the physical world. So we have the physical world and we have the spiritual world, because the terminology that I was thinking about is dimensions and realms and planes, dimensions, realms, and planes. And I was like, you know what? Everybody's going to see it a different way. So let me just keep it simplistic. So you have the physical world and you have the spiritual world. Okay. And the other two things I want to talk about is a 3D view and a 5D view. So physical world and spiritual world. Physical world is like, we're in it now. The spiritual world is like you're dead or there's angels or something, right? And then you have the 3D view. Now, when I say 3D view, what I mean by 3D view is not just the way you see, but especially the way you think. One of my spiritual gurus told me once, he said, well, if you want to perform miracles like Jesus, then you have to start thinking like Jesus. So 5D view is a higher level way of seeing the world. Like, you ever met somebody and you're talking to them and you're like, what planet are you from? You totally don't understand my concept of kindness, right? Or you talk to somebody like, what? You see it that way? I didn't even think of looking at it that way. And the way they looked at it was like the dark way, like, yeah, they're out to get you. Like, well, I thought that was a compliment, right? So there's a 3D view that's more earthly. And I give you another example. 3D view of looking at the world, because I started seeing this, I would say probably around 2015. And everyone in the corporate world that I talked to just thought I was an alien. And what I said was, I don't have any competition. That I don't want to steal the competition. I don't want to take your customers. I want you to have every customer that the universe, that God means for you to have. And I want me to have everyone I'm meant to have. I'm not meant to work with everybody, nor can I, right? Even when it comes to intellectual property, I share with everybody. I don't come from a point of scarcity, because if you're going to use my stuff to make some money, I didn't probably know who you knew anyway. So it's not like I could even sell them. So somebody might as well make some money. That's just the way I see it. But that's more of a 5D view. A 3D view is competition, and we got to beat them. And it's me, like, like sporting competition. Not talk bad about sports, but that mentality isn't let me do the best I can do or be. It's, did I do enough to beat you? And that's a 3D mentality. Where in a 5D, it was just, hey, it was a great game because we all did our best. We're not even really scoring, just like, did you do your best? So it's a totally different way of seeing the world. And when you see the world this way, you start to vibrate at a higher level. If you have gutter thoughts, then your vibrations are going to be low. You're not going to be able to do any magic. You're not going to be able to perform any miracles. You're not even going to see any. It can be right in front of you. You'd be like, huh? What? Where? It's like right there. But their vibrations are so low, they can't pick up on it and they can't feel it. In a more simplistic way, we kind of see that in our friends, right? If you were younger, you probably were into different things than you are now. And some of the people you used to kick it with back then, you can't kick it with right now. Different vibrations. So the reason why I put it this way, and I didn't want to use terminology like fifth dimension, across the board, or third dimension, because I didn't want people to think that you had to die in order to have fifth dimensional view. That's not the case. So looking at it this way, physical world, spiritual world, 3D view, and 5D view. You can be in the physical world and have a 3D view of it. Or you can be in the physical world and have a 5D view of it. 3D view would be, I'm not trying to just be kind. I want to win. Right? That's a 3D view. 5D view is we are one. We are the world. 3D people don't even understand the concept we are one. What do you mean we are one? No, you're over there, I'm over here. They don't even get it. But you can also be in the spiritual world, meaning dead, and still have a 3D view. There's some people still walking around looking for their version of heaven. It don't exist. There is no heaven where only the Jews are there, or only the Muslims are there, or only the black people are there. Although if they did, they have some damn good dancing. I'm just saying. So the way you see the world when you're alive is the way you're going to see the world when you're gone. So if you have a 3D view of the world while you're here, when you're on the other side, you're still going to be looking for something that is not there. That's why when it comes to mediums and psychics, anytime one of my crazy relatives come back, I'm not listening to your ass. You were dumb when you were alive. It's not like you got smarter because you crossed the veil. No, Uncle Ronnie, no. Mm-mm. So whatever view you have here, your beliefs are going to define your view. When you're in the spiritual world, it's going to be the same way. So I've had sessions where my relatives have crossed over and they have come back. And they have talked about how when they were alive, they did not believe the things that they believe now. Because even after you're dead and gone, you still grow. Nothing ends. You grow at a much slower rate than it is being in the physical world. The spiritual world, the lessons are slower to grasp. But they can still learn. And then I've been to places like the Monroe Institute in Virginia, where they actually save dead people, like Sixth Sense, where they go out and they find people who are dead but don't know they're dead. Like a man that's just been floating in the ocean for 200 years because his ship went down, but he refuses to believe in the afterlife the way he thought. So his butt's just floating out on some board in the middle of the ocean for the last 200 years because he still has a 3D view. So these spiritual heroes at the Monroe Institute go and find them and educate them and get them to come to the light. They asked me to join. I said, no, I'm still working on the mofos that are alive. I'm not ready to mess with the ones that are dead. Maybe when I'm 80. But for right now, I'm strictly dealing with the alive and kicking. So these are the four different things that I wanted to share with you guys. And now you see why, like if I threw in like, well, this is the third dimension or the third plane, and then the fifth plane, and then the seventh plane is with the white light and where God and source. And now you're getting into the Kabbalah. And depending on how much you know about spirituality, it can get you confused. So in the simplest form, we have the physical world, the spiritual world. All of us right now are in the physical world. But you have a 3D view and you have a 5D view. Now you want to talk about magic. I don't know if this exactly counts, but I'm going to throw it in anyway. Aliens. It used to be you talk about aliens and people think you're crazy. Now it's more acceptable because more people are seeing aliens. My sister-in-law saw one in Richmond, videotaped it. My niece was crying. She is 16 damn years old and was bawling. I'm like, oh my God, this is for real. It ain't like she's 6. You know what I mean? You got a 60-year-old crying, especially in Richmond. You see more horror stuff in Richmond. So I believe that we're able and we're seeing more of the alien stuff because across the planet, our vibrations are rising. More and more people are starting to have the 5D view. Now, the reason why I also explained it this way is from a magical standpoint. You want to do magic, you're going to have to be in that 5D mode because you can switch. You can be all, Om Kumbaya, where's my incense? That's 5D, right? And then somebody pisses you off and you're getting straight to, I'm going to whip your ass 3D mode. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to keep it real with you. So we can switch back and forth from having the 3D mindset, 3D view, or the 5D. If you want to do healing, I absolutely consider healing magic. Jesus did magic. If you're going to do some healing, you have got to be kicking it with that 5D vibration. So if you just had a negative thought forms, because you have positive thought forms, right? That brings you more into the 5D. And then you have negative thought forms that bring you more into the 3D. You can have a negative thought form that a thought just popped in your head. It doesn't mean that you're immune from doing magic and doing healing. For those of you who grew up Christian, you know how like it's time for communion. I don't know about your church, but in my church, they kind of worded it like, if you did any sin today and you eat this bread, your ass is going to fall off. It will. It just, the blood of Jesus, and then your butt just fall right on off. I was scared. It's not like that. All you have to do is raise your vibrations again. So if you had a negative thought, you just think positive. Love, right? Love is a huge way. Think of somebody you love. Think of something that you love. All of these things are vibrations that brings it up. Okay. So we get the foundation now. All right, with these. Now let's start going through, and I'm going to introduce some other concepts.
Will, Stanley had a question in the chat.
Sure, thank you. So, and the way I'm going to describe this, I would say no. That question you asked, Stanley, was actually one of the reasons why I went the simplistic way, because I didn't want to confuse people. But since you asked, I will answer it this way. There is and there isn't. Look at it in terms of 4D, 3D view and the 5D view. Okay, I know how I'm going to explain it to you. No, there is not. There is not. If you look at it in terms of the physical and spiritual world, yes, there is. The fourth dimension, as you hear people talking about, is just a weight station. It's like nobody hangs out at the bus stop. Well, what you gonna do today? I'm gonna hang out at the bus stop. The bus stop is just a place to go as you transition to another place, right? You know, and this to go here. It's not like really a hangout spot. But that will fall more in that physical, spiritual. But that's the reason why I chose to go this route. When you're looking at the 3D view and the fifth dimensional view, the answer to that is no. Think about the difference between a box and a cube. And that's why there's not a 4D in there. You're going from that box mindset to a cube. Okay. Magic. When we're talking about magic, what I'm talking about is superpowers. The ability to do things beyond in this physical world that you see as being, you know, different than the laws of the universe. And I sent you guys a handout, and I'll use this to go over it. And I'm going to tell you how I found out you can do and have these superpowers. It's doable. It just takes your commitment. And some of the miracles and magic that we've seen throughout history, it leads directly to how they were able to do it. From Jesus to Buddha to some of the saints. Okay. So when you look at superpowers, the ability to be ageless, the ability to be a psychic, the ability to heal. There's a lot of superpowers. I'm going to tell you the one that I'm going to be focusing on moving forward, like me personally, not like the group per se, but me personally is going to be the ability to heal. And instant healing. Not like, oh, I prayed for Sister Velvet today, and 5 days later, her headache went away. I'm so powerful. No, instant. The ability to manifest instantly. Okay. The ability to master the elements. That's how Jesus was able to walk on water. The ability to produce art and music. We're talking Prince. We're talking Michael Jackson. the music that people come out with, oh, man, this is just a hit for the summer. And then you got music that your mama listened to, you listen to, your kids are listening to. And then you have the ability to read minds, which from my research, I found out that the beings on our planet, we started out that way. There was no line when you can read everybody's mind. Where you been? You know where I've been. You can read my mind. So you can have that ability today. I actually, believe it or not, test that out this morning at 6 a.m. in the gym. I was going through and I was reading this and I was like, okay, so I know how to read people's mind. And there's a man over there and I am going to attempt to read his mind. Do you know how crazy I sound 6 a.m. in the morning asking another man, just, sir, I'm just curious. Right then, were you thinking? I did it. That's right. He said he was too. He was thinking that. There's something definitely wrong with me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just fearless. I don't care. But all of these things you can do, provided you have the virtues to go along with it. But I just wanted to highlight these first so you can know, and also so you can think out of these superpowers, out of these magical things, what do I want to be able to do? And have that in mind, because I think that's how we can have a conversation. Like Christina's like, I want to be able to see the future, right? Jane is like, I want to be able to teleport, whatever it is, biolocation. As we go through these, and you have it on your documents, that's what you guys do, right? You can see which one do you want to be able to do. I'll tell you mine is heal. Also the ability to see truth in another person. Say that's great for lawyers and judges and people of that sort too, right? And then the ability to teleport. So these are the superpowers that I gave you guys as a handout. So if I disappear, you have the blueprint on how to do all things magic. And now I'm going to hop back in and go over to the next one. Laws. How do you do these superpowers? Each one of the superpowers we talked about matches up to a universal law. You have the law of gravity, right? There's a bunch of laws out there. You have major laws, and then you have like minor laws. Some laws can be bent, broken, and some laws don't start none, won't be none, meaning it cannot be broken. Like the law of free will cannot be broken. There are consequences for you trying to break. Like if I try to enforce my will on the Kit, I'm going to get in trouble. That's why people who do black magic or even white magic, you want to heal somebody because they hurt, but they don't believe in it, they don't want it. Well, you're going against my free will. So guess what? When you perform that spell, it's going to come back on you in a bad way. So you have laws, right? You have major laws. And then for each one of these laws, you have some sub-laws that are smaller. Now, I was talking to Bobya before you guys got on and saying, this is something that I think for the next month, these handouts are going to continue to work on, because I want you to have a visual of there being 5 trees, because there are 5 major laws. And each tree, right, if we had the name of the law in that tree, has branches, and those branches represent the minor laws that still fall underneath the arc of the major law. And in these smaller branches, they bear fruit. So you were able to visually see, oh, this is the fruit, this is the benefit of that law. And then being able to figure out when you master some laws, they carry over into multiple superpowers. And that's why I wanted to make sure you guys all had the handouts.
I have a question.
Go for it.
One of the questions I have is, so as I'm understanding the first sheet, which is the virtues, laws, and spiritual superpowers that we just looked at,
Mhm.
you also list kind of like the adversary, right? The problems that it causes. And so I'm really curious, like, as you create this picture in my head about the visuals of the tree and the branches, what does
Mhm.
that mean as I start to tap into more and more gifts? Because I'm noticing that there are those other problems. Like, do I have to exist with those? And how can I create balance?
Fantastic question. I'm going to go over that in another 2 steps. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So the laws, looking back at that sheet, the one that Christina just brought up, let's take a deeper look at these. Okay. So these laws are a combination of the 5 major ones. They're also happen to be some of the minor ones too as well. And the way I set this up was I listed out virtues and then also problems. Because the premise behind our session today was me going over those 3 things that are paramount when it comes to magic. And that's laws, virtues, and problems. Laws, virtues, and problems. So as you go through and you look at this, right? So you really have 2 options. Option number 1, which one of these superpowers do I want? Am I most interested in? Chase 2 rabbits, you won't catch none. Pick one. Let's lock down one. Let's become really good at one. Let's prove that this works for one. Then we're be like, no, I want to be ageless. No, I want to heal. I want to be psychic. And I want to be able to teleport because gas is expensive. Okay, let's pick one and let's drill down on that one. So that's option 1. The other thing you can do is you can figure out what is your harmonious law. Harmonious law. All of us have certain laws that we come into this world naturally feeling. I'm feeling this law. Like this law, this is my law. Like I can tell you, Jane and I are tight. Jane absolutely possesses the law of compassion. Absolutely get that on lock. Came into the world with that. So when we look at our past lives, all of them are helpful because each past life was introducing you to a particular law, helping you to master it. Because when you master a law, when you have the virtue that is assigned to that law, then you can bend the law. In some cases, break the law. And some laws are laws of the physical world that we bend all the time. When velocity is faster or heavier or bigger than weight, you fly. That's what planes do. So you have physical laws of the universe, but then you also have more spiritual laws and how things work. So that thing that we talked about with 3D and 5D, 3D means you're stupid at this law. You're a baby. 5D means, oh, you kicking it. You mastered this one. You got that. All right, let me hop back to the PowerPoint real quick. Yeah. So let's go through virtues. Virtues are, hold on 1 second. My wife's coming in. Yeah, honey.
Where is it?
I will send it to you. No worries.
Because the address you gave, I can't find it.
7700 Brink Road.
Drink. Okay.
It was supposed to go to church today with my former client asked us to go. But I had you guys for Spiritual Sunday. So what did I do? I'm sending the wife. So I couldn't be like, hey, you interrupted my Spiritual Sunday thing. Because she's doing me a favor. Thank you, baby. She heard that too. All right, cool. So now let's get into virtues. What are virtues? Virtues are thought forms. They're thought forms. Virtues are higher level thought forms. Vices are lower level thought forms. If I got a vice of having elevator eyes, guess what? That's a lower level thought form. Higher level is when you can look at everyone as being your sister or your mother. Virtues, vices. I think, some of the things that I learned in, Christian church growing up was good stuff, but they never told you why. Now I'm going through and I'm telling you the why that I found. The why is the things that, they're calling good really are higher vibration things that's causing you to vibrate at a higher level. Straight up. Yeah. You're going around sleeping with everybody. You're going to be collecting a lot of lower level energy. You ain't going to be able to do higher level magic. But, in church they just say, don't fornicate. With nobody? Jesus wouldn't mind one. Virtues are higher level thought forms. And guess what? Thought is faster than light. Than the speed of light. Thoughts. Thought forms. So when you see these spaceships that are moving and jumping around, they're using thought. It has to be something that isn't tied to gravity, a way for them to be able to bend, which also means that they have to have higher level vibrations. They have to have a 5D view to even be able to grasp this. So when you're able to have pure thoughts, then that means you're able to levitate, mind over matter, move things. Because we know that thought is energy. Thoughts are things. You can build a prison around you just based on your thoughts. And the biggest prison and the biggest thing that prevents people from being able to do magic is your fear. And we're going to dive into that in a second. Let me hop back to the PowerPoint because I wanted to make sure I went in order. Here, we did that. We did that. Laws, virtues. So just to be clear, you acquire a virtue. You have a higher level of thinking. And each one of the virtues matches up to a law. That law allows you to do the superpower. You have a virtue, right? Or a vice. And the vice is the reason why that law keeps kicking your ass. And then from the virtue, you master a law. And the law is the gatekeeper, dun, 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 to the superpower. Now, if you want a superpower, you've got to go through a super problem. And Christina, here we go. Okay, so if you say, Lord, I want to be a better psychic, you're about to have some super problems. Lord, I want to be a better healer. You're about to have some super problems. It's the way the universe is built. The price you pay to acquire the virtue is dealing with problems. And it doesn't even mean you solve them. Not in all cases. It's not like, oh, I now have the ability to fix this problem, so I acquired this virtue. No. Sometimes it's your ability to go through that problem without killing nobody. So I'm in the gym this morning. It's about 5 a.m. Only one in there. And and I'm thinking about this session right now, right? What I'm gonna say, what I'm gonna do, what should be included in there, what should be left out. And somebody in my neighborhood, car alarm goes off for 40 minutes. Bam, bam, bam. And I'm like in my guru mood, it's just in my guru mood, and then bam, bam. I'm like, I'm gonna make, I have to go out. So I thought maybe I need to go out and walk around and then put a note in somebody's car. You live in a nice neighborhood, ain't nobody stealing your shit here. And like put it on it. Seriously, I thought about that. And then I thought about like joking them and saying, ain't nobody gonna steal this piece of crap. Why you got an alarm on there? Like seriously, all that went through my head. And then I was like, thank you, Lord. It gives me a chance, right, to work on some virtues, a whole bunch of patience, right? Compassion, right? Maybe this person isn't there. Maybe they went on some beautiful trip with their spouse. Now the car's going off and somebody's about to call the police on them, like me, about to call the police on them where they're gonna get a ticket. Compassion. So I just started thinking about all the different things that this problem, this inconvenience, is really helping me. So then the car alarm became like a beat, and I'm skipping around the gym, like in between the beats, like da da da, yeah, look at that rhythm, da da da, like just having fun with it. Totally different experience. Super problems. So let's take a look at that sheet that I made for you guys, because I think this is a big deal. And I made it up today. Like I never shown this to anybody else. And that's why I think I need a couple of weeks to get into it. All right, here's the crazy concept. New Year's Eve, everybody wants to come out with their New Year's resolution, right? This is my goal, or this is what I want to stop doing. You know, we have goals, right? Things we want to accomplish. I think that way of thinking is 3D. A 5D way of thinking is, I'm not going to come up with my New Year's resolution. I'm going to come up with my New Year's problems. These are the problems I'm going to make for myself this year. So when we think about problems, we think about, oh, I need to get past this problem. Let me avoid this problem. Oh, the perfect life is a life with no problems. No, it's not. That's 3D thinking. 5D is understanding. So let's keep it real, okay? Let me stop this for a second so you guys can see. Let's keep it real. If you believe in reincarnation, which I'm assuming everybody here maybe people on YouTube. Well, let's even water it down a little bit. Let's say that you believe in having a life plan, that before you were born, you, God, baby Jesus, guardian angel, soul family, soulmate, somebody and you talked about what you're going to do once you got here. If you just believe that, then that means that life after life, you're being born with the intent to have certain problems. You realize that, right? You're not being born to not face problems. You're being born to face problems. So that means life after life, you're being born to face a problem just so you can die. Now you acquire some virtue, and if you come back, you're going to face another problem. But what happens to those souls who awaken? And I think that's what it means to be woke. Not something fancy or cute that you can put on your shirt. Maybe woke means that you have awakened to understanding I need to make problems for myself, which is counterintuitive than what your granny used to tell you. Girl, why you keep making problems for yourself? They ain't mean it like that. But what I'm saying is, when you awake to understand that when you pick the problem you want, the problem that's going to bring you the virtue that matches up to the superpower so that you're able to make the planet a better place, that's when you're woke. You're no longer asleep. You're no longer trying to avoid problems or get away from problems. You're advanced so much that on purpose, you plan out the problems you're going to have. So Christina, when you were asking earlier about the trick, and the reason why I wanted to wait to hear is because the other thing I want to be able to do is to give people a visual so that they can, see the laws, see the virtues, also on the opposite side of that branch, see the vices. But then that they also have a way of seeing the problems, and the fruit is the problem. The fruit from the branch is the problem. So that you're able to pick an apple, pick a problem that you want to have in order to match up. And that's why I started messing around with this document. Just this morning. So, and I did a few of these. So let's say you want to be ageless. In the last couple of years, I've been getting that a lot for me. People are like, why do you look younger than you did 10 years ago? Well, being ageless matches up to the law of time. And you guys have the document. So I'm not like making this up. You have the document. And you can go and look and find the different things and then match it up. So the law of time, in order for you to be able to bend that, and by the way, this is the easiest thing to do. I can teach you a magic trick right now to help you with this. You take the palm in your hand, your left hand, if your right hand is dominant, you curl it like you're going to turn a knob, okay? You have your hand and you tap it 3 times, right? Time. And you can either go backwards, not clockwise, or go clockwise to speed time up or slow it down. I slowed time down today in order to do this document. I'm telling you guys all this stuff I did today. Went to the gym, had the car alarm going on, made the man think I was crazy because I'm reading his thoughts. Come up with this new document. How do I do all that stuff? Boom, 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 boom. And then I go reverse 3 times to slow time down. Now you got to remember to reset that sucker. It goes for a long period of time. And the more virtues that you have, the more power you have. So that you slow down time for you and your friend. Not just you. Or you're able to slow it down much slower or speed it up much faster. When I have horrible weeks and when I know in another 2 weeks I'm gonna give me some money, I'll speed that sucker up. I just do. I love that one. And you can do it too. And look at the virtue: kindness, love, pure intent, reverence, sincerity, trust, vision, and wonder. If you're a skeptic, that ain't gonna work for you. So the thing about you got to believe in Jesus if you're gonna make this work. All right, so again, they say all that, but they didn't really tell us why. Doesn't matter if it's Jesus or Krishna or you. I give a speech at this ashram, and the guy who started the ashram has a belief that they have an empty chair, and they believe whoever your guru is sitting in that chair. So they even say Jai Guru, which means I honor whoever your guru is. So you got to have faith. You got to have belief in order for this to work. Because faith, belief, that's a virtue. It's energetic. It raises vibrations. Even Yeshua said, if you have faith of a seed, you're going to be able to move mountains. Now, in order to do that, you got to have some problems. And that's why I worded that document, Christina, the other one, this one right here, problems that cause, meaning you have to look for problems that cause disruption. Put you in an environment where you're either receiving lack of respect, selfishness. What are those times where you will be fighting your own selfishness? So this is the super problem. And the next thing that I started to add, I think in this one. No. I got one more document. Aha! I didn't see it. It's down here. My bad. I was like, I knew. I slow down time to get some stuff done. Not just one sheet. Okay. The other thing, how to cause it. What situations make me angry? Would make me arrogant? Would make me criticize? Like a family reunion. And what's the ideal outcome? So I don't want you to get it twisted. Sometimes the ideal outcome is for you to win. Sometimes the ideal outcome is just for you to experience. Really? To suffer. That's another way to say suffer. Which is something else I didn't understand in the Christian church. Why do I got to suffer? That's like a good thing? Well, it is when you know just being in a particular environment, you're going to get the raise, the energy, the vibes. It's going to make you powerful enough to have a superpower. So if you want a superpower, you're going to have to go through a super problem. Now just think about it. And I want to get personal with you guys too. And I started it yesterday with Jane, like testing it out. If you're my friend, so much so that I get your phone number, I'm going to harass you. It's just like the man in the gym. So like yesterday, Jane's is chilling. I don't even know what Jane's doing. She's like, la, 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 la. All of a sudden she get a text from me. What's your greatest fear at this time? Like, not hello, how you doing? Did you see that last episode? What's your greatest fear at this time? You're like, okay. And my friend Barbara is calling too, probably wondering where my wife is. She's coming. Okay. So I started to go through these different things, and you have the form. I just haven't gone through and filled in the space because I started using this first one, right? And then once I had like, and this stuff, this is like out of the superpowers, 6 out of 10. 6 out of the 10 superpowers all said fear. Fear was one of the problems you had to go through. If you kick fear's butt, then that gives you access to the 6 out of the 10 of these superpowers we're talking about. That's huge. That definitely saves you some time. So going back to here, right? So you can fill in these with the super problems. And then I just started over here. How to cause it. Because you're going to have to pick that problem, right? It's like New Year's resolution. You have to pick the problem. What problem do you need to have? So when I asked you what superpower you wanted, right? So let's go back to me and mine. Let's break this down. I said healing, right? I wanted the ability to heal. That means the virtues are acceptance, courage, compassion, faith, forgiveness, gratitude, hope. And then you have the problems. All of this stuff right here I had in, right? And then when it comes to the problems, copy that. So, fear. I am going to tell you guys my worst fear. And then I'm going to walk through and tell you the questions that I wasn't able to slow time down long enough to get all of that in. That's why I need a couple of weeks. But I want you to hear how it is to go through it so you can do it yourself. And I want to tell you that after I did this for me, there was a quantum shift in me that I just felt better. But you got to keep it real with yourself too. All right, so here we go. But I want you guys to see, I'm going through this exercise. I typed it out on my phone. I'm going through this, but the reason why I'm going through this is because I want to be a better healer. I want to be able to heal people instantly because of an overall master plan. When you're able, just imagine Martin Luther King Jr., great speaker. Les Brown, you guys ever heard of him? Great speaker. What would Les Brown be if after he gave that great speech, he healed somebody who was blind? Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream. And yes, you too, little blind baby. You can see that dream. And he heals him. What happens? You have Jesus. Jesus realized that just being a great speaker wasn't enough, that you had to help people with their problems. And when you help people with their problems, then they're going to listen to you long enough to get the real information. The miracle, Yeshua said, was not that I healed these people. The miracle is that I opened up their minds. So if we really want to change the planet, if we are about it, and we're saying that we're light workers, then that means we need to stop checking off the box and being spiritually snobby and saying, oh, chakras? Yeah, I know about them chakras. And actually do stuff intentionally that's going to make it so that people will come to you and listen to you so that we can start treating each other better. So that's why I want to learn how to heal. Because to me, that's wealth. You can learn how to use Chat GPT, or you can learn how to heal people. So for me, fear. So the question was, and I wrote this out. What is my worst fear in my life at this time? That's the message I sent to Jane. What is my worst fear in my life at this time? And before that, what I put in here was fears diminish the minute we name them. Fears diminish the minute we name them. Diminish, meaning it goes down, not that they're gone totally. But you got to name them. It's like that big bad wolf, like you got to define what the worst case scenario would be. And then it's not so bad. Or have you ever been sick, but you didn't know what it was? It's a whole lot scarier until you were able to put a name to it. So what is my worst fear in my life at this time? That's what you should write down and figure out for yourself. And I don't know how it's going to be for everybody else, but as soon as I thought about this question, I had the answer immediately. And what I did was I went to that place in my body where I felt the answer. You know, when you get that pit in your stomach, like you ever get nervous, or you ever get afraid, you ever get mad, that's located somewhere in your body. So I went to that place in my body where that fear rests, and it's right around my second, third chakra. And for me, being broke and unable to build something useful, that is my worst fear in life at this time. Being broke and unable to build something useful. Cool. And from there, I had to go to the next step. What assumptions about reality is that fear based on? What assumptions about reality is that fear based on? And for me, that particular fear, being broke and unable to build something useful, led to four things, four assumptions about reality. So I'm gonna say that again. What assumptions about reality is that fear based on? You're assuming. I mean, it's not true, or it could be true, or you experienced it. What assumptions about if that fear comes true? For me, the first one was lack of respect. Second, people dismiss me. Third, it's a waste of talent, my own talent. And fourth, limited fun. Those things for me were what that fear was based upon. And then the next thing that came, so it really just came down to disrespect, being unimportant, boredom, and feeling trapped. That's what no money means to me. Disrespect, unimportant, boredom, and trapped. And then the next question is, what really is so terrible about that happening? What really is so terrible about that happening? So I'm answering these questions, right, as I go through. So the first one, the lack of respect, disrespect, number one, the reality was, well, people not respecting me never did. They just feared me. And when I got to that point, I was like, damn, that fear went shut. It's like, I didn't really lose anything. I never had it. And then the second one was, people dismiss me. I'm unimportant, right? Well, they never really liked me. It was just easier to tolerate me when I had money. Come on now, I'm not the only one here. You know, somebody get on your nerves like, well, They always do have chocolate. But if they ain't got chocolate, why don't you go somewhere with your non-chocolate having ass? So they never really liked me. It was just easier to tolerate me. So when I get to that, I'm like, wait a minute. So the first two things, I didn't really lose anything. I never had it, and it was impossible to have it with these people anyway. So that fear went, shh, like literally in my body, it is disappearing. And then the next one, waste of talent, boredom. And my answer was, I chose not to go out, or I choose not to use my talent and stay like I'm the sick and shut in if I don't have any money. But I'm choosing that. It's not that I can't go out or can't reach out. So waste of talent, that's on me. Like if I only can share my talent if I'm driving in a limo or riding in a plane first class, that's on me. So that fear went, I didn't lose nothing. It's like it really was peeling off layers. And the last one for me was limited fun, feeling trapped. I was like, I'm Will Harris. I can have fun anywhere. I had fun at a funeral one time. It's a damn good funeral too. They have some good singing. So when I looked at these four things, the crazy part is 2 things were in the hands of other people and out of my control. And 2 things were within my control. And that is so important when I just talk to people on a 3D level around goals. You have a goal that's totally on you. And then you can have a goal that's totally on somebody else. I don't care what they say. If you want to be Miss Universe, that is not on you. Somebody else needs to pick your ass. Period. Period. Yeah, how beautiful you look, how smart you are, somebody else has to decide that. And that's when corruption gets into play, and that's when people's hearts get broken. Now, if you want to lose 5 pounds, that's totally on you. Ain't nobody you need to fight about that except for yourself. You want to be better at meditating? That's on you. You want to get named the next Dalai Lama? That's on somebody else. Somebody else picks that. You want to be the next Pope? Somebody else picks that. It ain't like you out Jesus somebody else. So when you look at your fears, ask, are these fears at the root cause? Are they focused on someone else, meaning outside of your control? Or are they focused totally on you? In my case, I had both. On both sides. So then when I did.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
You said, like waste of talent is because you chose not to go out and use your talent. What did you say about the limited funds?
The limited funds? Well, all of them apply to having limited funds. Oh, limited fun. Really, limited fun and being trapped. I said I was trapped, and then I said I can have fun anywhere. I mean, have fun everywhere I go. So I thought having no money, less money meant I would have limited fun, that I'm trapped. Like I hate budgets. Like every time we go to India, we have I hate budgets because that means there's a limit to what we can do. And I don't like limits. But if I don't have money, there's no limit to how much fun I can have. I have been in places where I didn't have any money. 3 years ago, right before COVID hit, 3 years ago, right before, it was January, I flew from DC to London. And by the time I got halfway there, like we had to stop off at Stockholm, I realized I had lost my wallet somewhere from Dulles to Stockholm. No wallet. And I was going to be in England for a week. I went a week without my wallet. No money. A whole week. You got hotels, you got cabs, you got food, a whole week. That was one of my best weeks. And I went out begging for no money either. When we got more time, I'll tell you about that story. It's funny. My wife says I have Caesar genius because Caesar was horrible at getting himself in trouble and excellent at getting himself out of the same trouble he got in. So, Saul, would I put limited fun? No, I can get by without money. So it's a false fear. All four of those things for me was a false fear. And one other question you can answer. If you don't get the right answers when you're drilling down, what emotions are you trying to avoid? What emotions are you trying to avoid? So whatever that fear is, right? Each one of those things are tied to an emotion, just like each virtue is tied to a law, right? Okay. So here we go. So when you get to this worksheet, like I said, only get 2.5 there. You figure hopelessness, the reason why I put that there, you want to identify the ideal outcome. So if the perfect problem is you're in a situation or you have to face hopelessness, how to cause it, what situation would make you hopeless? I'll say when you lack financial resources, when you lack the right support. And when you look at these different things, you could say, let me try to go after a goal. And I give you an example. If I ask you, and I'm just making this up right now. If I ask you, what, if you knew you could not fail, what would you try to do? Like you have people say, oh, no, I wouldn't want to be president of the United States. Oh, politics is bad. That's really a lie. No, you just don't think you could get elected. But if you knew you could get elected, you'd be right up there in the White House. You would go for it. So you can ask yourself that question, and whatever answer you honestly get, go for it. Because it's probably a hopeless situation right now in your mind. And then once you put yourself in that situation, the goal is for you to just have vision, to see a possible way that you could get elected. I'm sure nobody would have thought that the first year of a new senator could turn around and the first time he runs for president, being black with a Muslim name, will win. But he had a vision. Yeah, he had a winning. But I'm telling you, even if he lost, just because he had a vision, he would have gained the virtue. So this is a win-win thing. So you can have goals that you go after that you fail, but you actually win. Strictly because you caused a problem, put yourself in a situation where this happened. Now let's say that Velvet decides, you know what? From this moment on, every year, I'm going to create a new problem. I'm going to pick a new problem and go after it. And she lives 50 more years. That's like 50 more lifetimes. She's like baby Buddha by the time she dies. Because everybody else is trying to avoid a problem, trying to skip a problem, trying not to have any problems. She's picking the problems on purpose. And each time it's like she's having another life while she's still in the same one. She leapfrogs. And because she leapfrogs, she's able to lift up everybody around her too. That's what all this stuff is about. That's how you do magic. Magic isn't being able to levitate or predict the future or read somebody's mind. Magic is being able to raise your consciousness in order for you to be a better person, to be more tolerant, to be all these things within these virtues that we looked at and we talked about. Whew. That's everything.
That was so good. Thank you.
My pleasure. Oh, I see 8 comments. Let me look in there. See, are there any questions? You see any questions, Shane, that came up that I missed?
I think it was just comments, pretty
Okay,
much.
so that's what's up, guys. I'm going to keep working on those worksheets that I sent out to you and filling them in and developing a visual from a tree standpoint. And I think it's all part of having a spiritual blueprint. And that's what I see that I'm working on. Like, I have some things up on the wall. Because, if you want to get a college degree, you know what courses you need to take. What do you want to do when you want to go to the next level? Like something tangible. So, and it should be something that you can pick, that you can choose. So what I'm envisioning is having something like around a spiritual blueprint, which allows you to kind of map out, this is where I am. This is where I am now, by the way. So wait a minute, I got this. That means I should be able to do this already. What? Stop the press. Right? That should be the first thing. Not that, oh, let me try to build this up, but what do I already have? And maybe it starts to figure out why you're always so lucky. Like all your friends like, why, man, you're just so lucky.
I see it as potentially being like a choose your own adventure. You remember those books? So like almost an assessment of what you already have as those virtues and the things that you have a foundation in, and then like it revealing where you could actually go and take it. And I don't know. I mean, as I saw the worksheets and everything else, I was like, oh, maybe this needs to be a journal, but I feel like it has to be interactive. And when I say that, it's because these are all these old things, right? Remember those books where you could listen as you read, right? So it would always tell you to you put the record on. And I almost feel like the guidance is something that is so important as well. So besides having the visual, like having the opportunity to hear your voice or whomever it is that you choose to lead those things, right? And glean some of that knowledge. So as people are getting into this place, they can then tap into what is the knowledge, what is the information that I need, and knowing that it's going to be what resonates at the time, because it is perfect timing and customized to them. Like, so I guess that's like how there's all these new inventions. So, obviously there was a different way that you could probably make that happen. But I really feel like all of the conversations that I have either seen on YouTube or that I've experienced by being here in person, they've all become this beautiful building block where as I start to reflect on the things that, even right now, I couldn't help in this conversation but think back to the first time that you and I met. And I was just like, well, I have this gift. And I also said I didn't want it, and I was just like, I don't know how now that I'm ready to tap into that. And you walked me through that. And it's interesting now in this conversation to understand that like the fear that I had at the time that these things were happening, it's all reasonable. It was overwhelming. And the thing that you told me, more than a year ago was that I didn't need to denounce a gift, and I hadn't. And you said, if you want me to tell you how to get rid of it, I can certainly help you. But it's so powerful because I can tap back into that conversation, and you also saying you still have it. It's just a matter of you created that space because you said you needed it. And so now to be open to it again, you have to actually show that you're ready for that. And as I look at this list of what I needed, because what I naturally had was something that at that point I was like, I don't want. Now I have to do the work. I have to do the work in order to have the, I'm not going to say control, but have the advantage, because the gifts that I had were overwhelming and they were just naturally there. But I didn't know how to create appropriate boundaries. I did not know how to not encompass fear or how to not have insomnia, because all of these things were coming in. So now I'm getting more so based on these conversations in an understanding of I curate my own story. I do not have to have the fear. I do not have to, I mean, I can walk through embracing and understanding that part of that journey is also holding these other things. I mean, I walk around open to the world. And sometimes that has been of detriment, right? Because not everybody is, it's not about them not being open. Not everybody comes with pure intentions. And so
You're on 5D.
yeah, and so it's funny because sometimes people are like, how did you see every single animal around the route, but you didn't see what street we were supposed to turn on, right? How are you able to see every single flower and you know like how to get somewhere based on the art that you see, as opposed to actually knowing what the address is? And for people, sometimes that is hard for other people to understand, and even myself, right? But I will say that like all the teachings have come in perfect timing and they all feel really good. And so I thank you for putting this together, because I needed to see something. I am a visual person, and it's nice to think about how not only I can understand more about the things that are just naturally me, and also aspire for the things that I want as I continue to grow.
That's
It's
awesome.
funny, Christina, I put my spiritual forest together when he was talking. Because I'm visual. So, and so one of my questions to you, Will, is you said there are 5 major laws. Will you go through at some point? Do we figure out what the 5 major laws are, or are there 5 major laws? And then because you said there are 5 trees, 5 major laws, and then the branches are the minor laws. So will we get into that?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Excellent.
Anybody else?
It's just so exciting. I'm excited to be here in this time, like as you're devising, because I can feel your I can feel your head spinning, not in a way that it's like out of control, but just working on how to make this something accessible. And it's so wonderful, like as we're all working on ourselves, to also feel your energy and your excitement for creating something for all of us. So I thank you.
And today I had to ground myself, like envision going down to the core of Mother Earth and circling it, because my heart was beating fast. I was just so excited, like, all right, simmer down. Cool. Anybody else? Any questions, comments? It's open. Feel free. All right.
The only comment that I have is that I'm very full. So I'm just processing everything. But as I commented, as soon as when you finish speaking, this was like really, really good. Like I am full, like I just had Sunday dinner.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Means a lot.
Yes.
And to me, it's, as you say that, you have to go back for more Sunday dinners to actually understand it, right? You can't just stop with this Sunday dinner and say, okay, this is Thanksgiving. Now we don't have another big dinner until Easter. This is you got to really work on this.
Yeah, it's, I agree, as Christina mentioned, it's all about doing the work.
Mhm.
You know, with Will sharing the information, having no fear, because I believe that we are here, to be elevated so we can elevate the consciousness of others on the planet. This is how we get, we get really to unity, back to oneness. So it's
Mhm.
all about doing the work. And as I sit here, I'm thinking, because my work is my life journey, and I love that, Will, when you added 50 more years to my life. And I'm like, okay, so I'll be the female version of Benjamin Button. Of that movie. Didn't understand it at first when I watched it. I'm like, oh my God, look at this baby. But but yeah, it's just that it's all about doing the work. Oh, I was saying that I was kind of feeling like, oh man, I wish I had been here last week and the week before. But whenever I'm not here, I'm on another platform with my spiritual teacher or spiritual sisters, furthering the work. So I made it my business to be here today, even though I was outside playing in Mother Earth before I came on here, which caused me to be a little bit, late, but I'm very appreciative.
That's cool. And I'm going to start doing, keep doing YouTube lives. So if you do miss, you can always go back and watch it and look at it. I think we're just in the beginning of this, like all of the upcoming sessions. Now that I have this, I kind of want to frame it out more, right? And dive down deeper and have it structured so that people are able to get the information, experience the information. Like we didn't even add a meditation into this, which could easily be done, right? Where you go and you meet the laws and you talk to them, and it's a certain process. And I laid that out too, but just ran out of time. There's so much more to cover. But if we have it set up where we're able to introduce the concept, and then have you put it into practice, to meditate, to ground it in you, and then have you going off into the world with an exercise or something for you to do or work on or look at. Like everybody should be looking at what is your fear and walking through those exercises like I did. That is just a huge leap. And it's something that can change from year to year, month to month. What's my greatest fear at this time, right? And just making that adjustment. So that's what we're going to do moving forward, and still having that entire month where we're stick on the topic, where somebody might not be able to make the first week or second week, but you come the third week. And it's kind of like a summary of what we did the others. It just builds up. It's starting to get more grounded because we have like 700 plus people in the group. But someone will be interested in meditation, others aliens, others, how do you manifest? So people float around. But I think now that we're starting to have some grounded issues, more like a curriculum to build upon, I can see us progressing with that too. Cool.
Yeah, I would love to know from your perspective. My question was like, what meditation would be really helpful as we delve into some of these questions. So after I expose and delve into like, well, what's this greatest fear, or what are these outside, the things that are not within my control? What are the meditations? Yeah, I have the app.
That
Is it a
one.
specific one? I'm sorry, I can't see it.
Merkaba Emotions. That's
Okay,
what I used this morning.
thank
So
you.
Merkaba Emotions, there's a guided one, and then there is a free flow. And I used it based on my fear, and I injected that in, and then also the opposite emotion in order to fill that up. And at one time, I imagined like a, like a heart, that was outside my body, and I sent the fear into the heart, and I made the heart pink because when you meet the law of compassion, it's normally like pink and like fluffy like a cloud. So the all of the meditations in the app always relates to what we talk about here. And next month I'm heading back out to India. Jane's going to, and I want to hit the studio for another week, a week or two, and make some more audios for next year. But Merkaba Emotions, that's the one. You can rock it. Velvet, the meditation app is on Apple or Google Play Store. It's called Legacy Meditations. And you just search for Legacy Meditations and you find it. If anybody does have the app, also please give some feedback on it, because the first person that gave feedback trashed it, rightfully so, because I didn't have it open for anybody, and everybody had to have a special password. And they were like, this app, I really wanted to see it, but I couldn't get in because I ain't have no password. She gave me like a 1, which is appropriate because I won't done. But give us your feedback on the app. That will help us too. Cool. Okay, anybody else? All right, I'm gonna try to get changed because I gotta put on my church clothes to go to my friend's church that I sent my wife to already to kind of hold it down. But we'll try to catch up to her. Give me a little Jesus on, I guess. Cool. I love you all. I see you next week. If you have any questions about anything, just shoot it to me. We don't have to wait till Sunday to go over this. Just email me your questions or your thoughts. Christina, your ideas were phenomenal. I'm glad we recorded this so that I can go back and listen to everything again too. So with that, I will say goodbye to everybody or anybody on YouTube that's watching, and definitely say goodbye to you all too. Thanks for hopping in.
Thank you.
Thank you.